effort to build a better Bay Area. Tonight, we're looking at a mile-long stretch of road in Marin County that has come in many ways to symbolize the Bay Area's growing housing crisis. This crisis only worsened through the pandemic. RV after RV, car after car, parked here because people have nowhere else to go.
Denver man says the RVs parked in his neighborhood are parked there illegally, blocking traffic and forcing pedestrians out onto a busy road.
Well, he reached out to contact Denver 7 after he said complaints to the city went nowhere. And as Liz Gilardi shows us, he's worried someone could get hurt.
Across the country, the middle class is falling straight into RV parks, Walmart lots, and highway shoulders. Engineers, nurses, teachers, analysts pushed out of housing overnight. Nearly 750,000 jobs erased and rents exploding so fast that even two-income households can't keep up. RV living isn't a choice anymore. It's survival. Idaho experienced the nation's most violent housing collapse in recent memory. When remote workers abandoned California and Washington between 2020 and 2022, they flooded into Boise carrying massive equity from home sales worth $800,000 to $1.2 million. These newcomers purchased Idaho properties for $350,000 to $450,000, congratulating themselves on smart financial moves while unknowingly demolishing local affordability. The destruction happened fast. Median home prices in Boise jumped 89% in 4 years. Monthly rent for two-bedroom units doubled from $1,100 to $2,100. Idaho residents, including teachers, truck drivers, medical assistants, and state workers, watched wages crawl upward at just 3% annually, while out-of-state buyers earning $160,000 salaries priced them out of neighborhoods they'd lived in for generations. Then tech companies reversed remote work policies, demanding employees return to California offices. Newly relocated workers discovered they were stranded, jobless, and facing impossible rents after selling everything to move. RVs became their only option. Idaho maintains fewer than 15 year-round RV parks across the entire state. Winter temperatures plunge below zero in most cities. Residents living in travel trailers burn through $300 to $500 monthly in propane costs, and standard RVs simply weren't engineered for Rocky Mountain winters. Pipes explode, water tanks shatter, roofs cave under snow weight. Idaho delivers a brutal lesson. Any state can transform from affordable paradise to survival nightmare in under 4 years. Oregon's crisis reveals the gap between progressive messaging and aggressive enforcement. Portland rents climbed 54% after 2020. The city shed 15,000 jobs spanning tech, retail, and manufacturing sectors. Rather than creating accommodation for RV residents, Portland passed one of America's harshest anti-RV ordinances, a 12-hour parking limit on public streets. After 13 hours, citations start. 3 citations trigger automatic towing. The city deployed specialized enforcement teams whose sole purpose is tracking down and removing RV dwellers. Portland simultaneously offers 0 safe parking facilities, no designated RV zones, and no practical alternatives. Tens of thousands endure perpetual displacement. Bend presents an even grimmer situation. Service industry workers earn $15 to $18 hourly, while average rent hits $2,100 for one-bedroom units. Workers survive in RVs parked outside city limits, frequently in forest areas. But the Forest Service now aggressively enforces removal. Seasonal employees sustaining Bend's tourism industry have no housing options beyond RVs they're constantly forced to relocate. Eugene attempted designated RV parking zones as an experiment. The program collapsed within 6 months due to absent bathrooms, security, waste management, and support infrastructure. Oregon perfectly illustrates how rapidly a state can criminalize homelessness without constructing any structural solutions. The enforcement machinery runs efficiently while housing alternatives remain non-existent. Progressive politics meet regressive policies, leaving thousands caught in permanent transit with nowhere legal to stop. California houses America's largest RV homeless population, exceeding 150,000 people living in RVs, vans, and motorhomes statewide. This phenomenon isn't lifestyle branding. It's mass economic displacement. The Bay Area alone eliminated 73,000 tech positions from 2023 to 2024. Middle managers previously earning $180,000 to $220,000 found themselves collecting unemployment capped at $450 weekly. Rents remained virtually unchanged. San Francisco still demands $3,400 monthly for one-bedroom units, Mountain View $3,200, Oakland $2,600. Savings disappear rapidly when rent exceeds income. Many residents, particularly those with school-age children or partners maintaining local employment, remain in the region, purchasing older RVs and parking along city streets. California's response emphasizes enforcement almost exclusively. San Francisco invested $41 million clearing encampments and towing vehicles in 2024, sufficient funding to house thousands. Instead, resources went toward making homelessness invisible. Los Angeles operates safe parking programs, offering only 300 total spaces for a city containing 45,000 vehicle dwellers. That represents under 1% coverage. Throughout the Central Valley, agricultural layoffs and drought-driven farm shutdowns push low-income workers into RVs stationed behind factories, orchards, and truck stops. California proves a harsh reality. When America's wealthiest state cannot maintain middle-class housing, the remaining states will inevitably follow the same trajectory. The crisis moves from exception to template. Washington's crisis represents the inevitable outcome of tech expansion outpacing infrastructure by a full decade. Seattle absorbed 190,000 new residents from 2015 to 2023 while constructing only 42,000 housing units. Rents exploded. One-bedroom apartments previously costing $1,600 now average $2,800. Then historic layoffs arrived. Amazon eliminated 27,000 positions. Microsoft cut 10,000, and Google, Meta, plus numerous startups dismantled entire departments. Thousands of six-figure earners suddenly confronted rents they could no longer sustain. Severance packages purchased time, nothing beyond that. RV living surged throughout the East Side Tech Corridor. Streets in Bellevue, Redmond, and Kirkland now display rows of Class C motorhomes owned by former tech employees who previously worked in offices mere blocks away. These cities selected enforcement over solutions. A 72-hour rule mandates constant relocation. Violations bring citations, followed by towing. Spokane experiences the hidden version of this crisis. Rent jumped 41%, wages only 8%. Winters reach 0 degrees. Summers exceed 100 degrees. Maintaining survivable temperatures in an RV costs $500 to $600 monthly, combining propane and generator fuel. Rain becomes Washington's silent destroyer. RV roofs weren't designed for 150-plus rainy days annually, causing rot, mold, and rapid structural failure. Repairs often cost thousands, exceeding what most displaced workers possess. Washington exposes Boomtown fragility. When the economic engine stops, there's nothing underneath supporting it. Colorado's RV homelessness stems from extreme altitude conditions, tourism-dependent economics, and defense sector contraction. Denver maintains over 4,000 people living in vehicles, regularly displaced by the city's rigid 72-hour parking ordinance. The harshest crisis exists in mountain communities. Vail, Aspen, Breckenridge, and Telluride show median home prices exceeding $2 million. Even studio apartments rent for $2,800. Workers staffing ski lifts, restaurants, and hotels earn $15 to $22 hourly, making traditional housing mathematically impossible. They shift to RVs, even facing temperatures dropping below negative 20 degrees at 9,000-foot elevations. Winter survival means burning through propane tanks every 48 hours. That's $300 to $400 monthly, exclusively for preventing frozen pipes. Even with constant heat, water tanks crack, roofs collapse under snow weight, and inadequate RV insulation fails repeatedly. Colorado Springs confronts its own crisis. Defense contractors, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, L3 Harris, cut engineering and technician positions after 2024 budget reductions. Workers earning $70,000 to $90,000 suddenly faced rents approaching $1,900 for one-bedroom units. Many purchased RVs to avoid eviction. Meanwhile, national forests implemented new restrictions, only 14 days of camping monthly across entire regions. This effectively eliminates free long-term parking options. Colorado demonstrates what happens when essential workers sustain tourist economies, while being pushed into freezing RVs the moment wages fall short of survival thresholds. Nevada's crisis launched when Las Vegas shut down in 2020, and 140,000 jobs vanished essentially overnight. Casinos, entertainment venues, restaurants, and hotels went dark. When the economy reopened, the housing landscape had transformed completely. Investors purchased entire neighborhoods. Corporate landlords acquired multi-unit buildings. Rent doubled throughout the valley. A blackjack dealer in Vegas averages $45,000 annually, including tips. Casino housekeepers earn $30,000 to $32,000. Studio apartments now cost $1,800. One-bedrooms run $2,200. Workers spend more than half their income on rent, while still failing application criteria demanding earnings triple the monthly rent. RV living became the default fallback. Vegas prohibits long-term RV parking throughout most areas. Thousands of workers relocated to Pahrump, an unincorporated town 1 hour west. RV parks charge $800 to $1,000 monthly, but commuting burns $20 to $25 daily in gas. Many spend 3 hours daily driving. Reno faces different pressures. Housing costs jumped 79% since 2020, driven by California migration. Local wages stagnated. RV parks filled completely. People attempted BLM land outside the city, but desert winds destroy awnings, dust clogs AC units, and summer heat forces generators to run constantly. Nevada illustrates what happens when a service economy cannot house its own workforce. The entire labor force becomes mobile, unstable, and priced out of cities they keep functioning. North Carolina's crisis resulted from economic contraction and catastrophic natural disaster striking nearly simultaneously. Charlotte built its identity around finance: Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist. When banking contracted, Charlotte absorbed the impact. Throughout 2023 to 2024, Bank of America eliminated 6,200 positions, Wells Fargo cut 4,100, and Truist removed 2,800. Over 12,000 white-collar jobs vanished in a city where basic two-bedroom rent sits at $2,200. Laid-off analysts, loan officers, and operations managers downsized into RVs, filling every local park around Concord, Matthews, Gastonia, and Rock Hill. Waiting lists formed immediately. People parked in industrial lots and hotel back roads, only to face enforcement sweeps. Charlotte's problem appears minor compared to western North Carolina. Hurricane Helene destroyed 40% of Asheville's rental inventory in September 2024. Entire neighborhoods washed away. Prices surged overnight. One-bedroom units costing $1,400 before the storm jumped to $2,400 afterward. FEMA trailers became long-term housing because rebuilding stalled completely. Thousands live in RVs scattered across rural mountain counties. Dump stations overflow. Propane runs out during winter. Water access becomes a daily struggle. Contractors who traveled to rebuild the region also live in RVs, serving a housing market they themselves cannot enter. North Carolina demonstrates how disaster and economic decline merge into a long-term homelessness pipeline that RV parks simply cannot absorb. Arizona's RV homelessness crisis is driven by extreme heat, failed tech expansion, and housing inflation nobody could match. Phoenix experienced 31 consecutive days exceeding 115 degrees. Actual temperature, not heat index. Inside an RV without AC, temperatures reach 135 degrees. Yet people survived these conditions because rent rose 67% from 2020 to 2024. The semiconductor boom was marketed as salvation. Intel and TSMC promised tens of thousands of jobs across massive fabrication facilities. Workers relocated, rents climbed, developers raised prices. Then both companies announced delays, hiring freezes, and early layoffs. The housing market inflated based on projected jobs that never materialized. RV parks across Phoenix, Mesa, and Scottsdale charge $1,200 to $2,000 monthly, excluding electricity. Running RV air conditioning in Arizona summers costs $400 to $700 monthly. People unable to afford parks attempt Bureau of Land Management land, free for 14 days, but offering no water, no shade, and no power. Batteries fail quickly in heat, water spoils in tanks, and people must drive into town constantly just to survive. Quartzsite, once a seasonal gathering spot, now maintains a permanent RV population created by economic displacement. The town has no infrastructure supporting year-round residents. Arizona proves that climate alone can make RV living financially impossible, And when jobs vanish simultaneously, survival becomes a daily calculation. Texas promised affordability, but reality collapsed under explosive growth and severe housing shortages. Austin absorbed 110,000 new residents from 2020 to 2023, while constructing only 6,000 housing units. That imbalance triggered rent spikes, doubling costs citywide. Two-bedroom units costing $1,500 in 2019 now demand $3,200. Then layoffs struck. Tesla eliminated 11,000 workers, Oracle downsized its Austin operations, and Indeed cut 1,000 positions. Overnight, thousands of skilled workers couldn't meet rental qualification standards requiring income at least 3 times monthly rent. With savings depleted, people bought used Class C RVs and travel trailers. Austin's response wasn't support, it was enforcement. The city effectively banned long-term RV parking within city limits. Fines start at $75, escalating to $500, and towing a trailer costs over $1,400. 0 legal long-term RV sites exist in Austin. Not one. Displaced residents pushed into surrounding suburbs. Pflugerville, Round Rock, Kyle, San Marcos, commuting long distances just to maintain any income. Rising gas prices make survival even harder. West Texas faced different collapse. The oil industry's downturn left thousands stranded in RVs throughout Midland, Odessa, and the Permian Basin. When oil companies cut staff, workers living in trailers suddenly had no employment, no fuel money, and no escape from the desert. Texas exposes the affordability myth. Once growth accelerates faster than housing, even cheap states become unlivable. Florida's RV crisis represents the collision of 3 forces: tech layoffs, catastrophic insurance collapse, and climate-driven displacement. Miami marketed itself as the next Austin, adding 17,000 tech jobs between 2019 and 2022. When the bubble burst, 12,000 positions disappeared, taking thousands of middle-class households down with them. Laid-off workers turned to RVs because apartment rents soared beyond reach. Miami's average one-bedroom reached $2,650, while wage growth stagnated. The state's insurance system collapsed under consecutive hurricanes. 2 major storms in 2024 left tens of thousands of homes damaged. Insurance companies responded by dropping policies or raising premiums to levels normal homeowners couldn't afford. People who still owned houses suddenly couldn't insure them. Many sold quickly, bought RVs, and attempted long-term survival in parks never designed for year-round living. South Florida RV parks now charge $1,200 to $1,800 monthly, with electricity adding $300 to $500 during extreme heat. One Fort Myers park reported 347 people waiting for 87 sites, a 4-year wait list. Additionally, Florida heat makes RV living financially brutal. Running AC becomes a survival necessity, not a luxury. Attempting to boondock with generators can cost $400 plus monthly in fuel. Florida reveals harsh truth. When a state's economy depends on weather, insurance, and tourism, one bad year can push stable families into RVs overnight. Georgia's crisis didn't explode overnight. It formed at the exact intersection of explosive growth, corporate layoffs, and a housing system that broke faster than anyone anticipated. Atlanta grew by 97,000 people between 2020 and 2024, but the entire metro area added only 23,000 new units. When a city grows 4 times faster than it builds, the mathematics collapse instantly. Rents rose 58% in 4 years, forcing middle-income residents into survival mode. Then layoffs started. UPS eliminated 12,000 positions, NCR relocated nearly all headquarters jobs, Home Depot corporate shed departments, and Delta restructured, hitting administrative workers hardest. Thousands went from stable income to unemployment in a housing market where landlords demanded income at least 3 times rent. Very few met that requirement. RV living surged in every county surrounding Atlanta, not for travel, but because older Class C motorhomes were cheaper than deposits plus first plus last month's rent. Every Georgia state park with RV spaces now reports 4 to 6 month waiting lists, a situation that never existed before 2023. The climate adds another cost. Atlanta humidity pushes heat indexes to 105 degrees. Running an RV air conditioner full-time adds $300 to $450 monthly. Cities responded with towing and ticket sweeps on Buford Highway, Moreland, and Fulton industrial zones. No safe lots, no legal long-term parking, just displacement. Georgia shows how fast a booming city can force working families into RVS when growth outruns affordability. Pennsylvania's RV homelessness crisis is rooted in a triple hit: collapsing wages, massive layoffs, and a housing market moving faster than residents can adapt. Since 2023, the state lost over 47,000 jobs in healthcare, higher education, transportation, and manufacturing, the exact industries that traditionally kept Pennsylvania stable. Philadelphia experienced a 45% rent increase in 4 years. Wages rose 6%. That gap forced thousands of young workers, nurses, technicians, and adjunct professors into vehicle living. The return of student loan payments in late 2023 pushed even more people into RVs after they failed income qualification requirements for rentals. RV parks in eastern Pennsylvania, once seasonal, now report year-round 100% occupancy, something never seen previously. Many displaced workers park in Walmart lots, abandoned industrial zones near the Delaware River, or behind old rail yards. Winter is the most dangerous factor. Temperatures regularly fall into the 10 to 20 degree range. Keeping an RV above freezing requires constant propane burn, often $300 to $350 monthly. Water lines freeze, tanks crack, and repairs wipe out what little savings remain. Cities like Philadelphia, Allentown, and Pittsburgh began towing RVs under abandoned vehicle rules after only 72 hours, but they provide zero safe parking options. People lose their only shelter with no alternative. Pennsylvania's story shows how slow erosion of middle-class jobs turns into vehicle homelessness, not from irresponsibility, but from simple arithmetic families can no longer beat. Tennessee's crisis is the result of runaway growth slamming into low-wage realities. Nashville became one of America's fastest-growing metros, with home prices climbing 72% since 2020. One-bedroom apartments now average $1,950, far beyond what hospitality, medical support, and service workers earn. Then layoffs came. Amazon scaled back operations, Nissan restructured in Smyrna, and multiple healthcare networks, including Vanderbilt, cut staff as labor costs rose. Thousands of workers earning $45,000 to $70,000 were suddenly jobless in a city where landlords require applicants to earn 3 times monthly rent, meaning $70,000 income just to qualify for a standard apartment. Many responded by buying older RVs, fifth wheels, or travel trailers. RV parks around Nashville, Franklin, Madison, and Lebanon filled instantly. Long-term spots now have 5 to 8 month wait lists. Tourism towns like Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville face different problems. Workers serving hotels, Dollywood, and restaurants make $13 to $17 hourly, while rent sits at $1,600 plus. The result is hidden RV communities in national forest lands and remote county roads. Severe storms in 2023 and 2024 destroyed thousands of rural homes. Insurance payouts fell short. So many families bought RVs rather than rebuild. Counties responded with towing and strict parking enforcement, pushing people deeper into the Smokies. Tennessee shows how a booming city can hide a collapsing workforce and how fast a tourism economy forces its workers into RVs when housing outpaces wages. New Mexico's RV homelessness crisis began long before layoffs. It started with chronic low wages and an economy unable to keep up with modern cost of living. Statewide median income sits around $30,000 to $36,000, one of the lowest in the country. Rent, however, surged 39% since 2020. That mismatch ensures even fully employed residents are always one emergency away from losing housing. Albuquerque has quickly become one of the top 10 cities in the Southwest for vehicle living. Older RVs and vans line Central Avenue, industrial roads, and empty lots near the river. These aren't travelers. They're restaurant workers, security guards, teachers, and retail employees priced out of apartments that now average $1,450 for one-bedroom units. Intel's Rio Rancho plant announced major delays and contractor cuts in 2023 to 2024, removing hundreds of middle-income jobs. These layoffs pushed even more people into RVs. The desert makes everything harder. Heat regularly surpasses 100 degrees, which turns RVs into ovens. People rely on generators costing $250 to $350 monthly in fuel just to keep fans running. In rural areas, people haul water every 2 to 3 days, spend hours dumping tanks, and face constant battery failure from extreme heat. RV parks around Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Las Cruces now run 95 to 100% full year-round, a first in state history. Local governments respond with sweeps, but no long-term solutions. New Mexico proves even low-population states can suffer massive RV homelessness when wages remain stagnant for decades. Utah's image as a clean, stable, family-friendly state hides a housing crisis that exploded faster than anyone expected. Between 2020 and 2024, Salt Lake City rent increased 61%, one of the highest jumps in the nation. Meanwhile, wage growth stalled at 11%, creating a gap people couldn't bridge. Simultaneously, the Silicon Slopes tech corridor unraveled. Companies like Adobe, Qualtrics, Pluralsight, Podium, and Domo all went through layoffs or hiring freezes. Thousands of engineers and support staff suddenly lost income in a market where basic apartments cost $1,700 to $2,000. RVs became the fallback for many who couldn't keep up. Utah's RV homelessness looks different. The majority park in Davis, Utah, Weber, and Salt Lake counties, and authorities enforce strict 24 to 48-hour relocation rules. Utah Highway Patrol frequently removes RVs from highway shoulders, park and rides, and industrial streets. Winter is deadly. Nighttime temperatures regularly fall below 0 degrees, freezing tanks, pipes, and batteries. A single week of extreme cold can cost $250 to $400 in propane, and many RVs suffer catastrophic damage from ice expansion. Tourism towns like Moab, St. George, and Kanab rely heavily on service workers earning $14 to $19 hourly, yet rent there has skyrocketed past $1,600. Many workers now live in hidden desert RV encampments miles outside town, with no running water and no electricity. Utah reveals how even states with booming reputations can crumble when housing outpaces income, and when winter turns vehicle living into survival. The truth is brutally simple. America is cracking faster than anyone wants to admit. If any part of this hits close to home, your state, your rent, your job, tell us in the comments so your story isn't buried. And don't stop here. Watch our next video where we uncover the root cause behind this crisis. Because once you see it, everything happening right now will finally make sense.